This evening, I'm extremely grateful to so many for allowing me to be part of this occasion. I thank George Mount for nominating me, Debbie Hansen for accepting me, my fellow inductees for edifying me, my family for loving me, and all of you for tolerating me. I must admit that I feel a bit out of place in the company of such notable persons as Sam Miller, Nancy Panzica, and the others who are being inducted this evening. The Lord has His own way of keeping us humble. Rather recently, I had been invited to speak to a gathering of all the organizations of a particular parish. And when I arrived there, I was intercepted by a religious sister on the parish staff. She introduced herself to me, informed me that our meeting was so providential because she was in charge of the confirmation class who were meeting that evening. She went on to say that since I'd be confirming them in a couple of weeks, it would be wonderful if I were to speak to them before I went to the parish hall for my formal presentation. So unannounced, I walked into the classroom to face about 75 kids who looked as if they were not too happy to be there. I started by saying, I understand you're going to be confirmed soon. Can anybody tell me what the sacrament of confirmation is? And there was no response. And every one of those kids tried to avoid making eye contact with me. So I went on, I said, well, you may remember that you'll be receiving the Holy Spirit, right? Again, no reaction, no response. And you'll be receiving the gifts of the Holy Spirit, won't you? I went on to say. No reaction from the group. And then in the back, a young lady raised her hand very slowly, and I thought to myself, at last, thank God there's life in here, you know. So I pointed to her, eager what you have to say. She looked at me with a rather pained look and said, just who are you anyway? And that brought me back to reality. She had a perfect right to ask that question of a total stranger who just walked into their midst and barraged them with a bunch of questions. And tonight you may be asking the same question. But who I am is really not that important. But I stand before you as a product of my environment, very grateful to God for all that He has made me. I'd like to think that I have been supportive of the Slovenian community here in Cleveland. But I also would like to think that as a Catholic bishop, I've been supportive of everyone in the Cleveland community. My parents were humble, hard-working immigrants who came here in the 1920s in search of a better life. They met here and married here. I was raised in the Slovenian neighborhood in the days of the Great Depression. I'm the eldest of 4 children in a very poor family, where hand-me-downs were expected and welcomed. Our conscientious father worked as a machinist in a very small factory, an hour's streetcar ride away from home, to provide for his family. He was a very gentle man who worried about his family, especially when he became ill. And he died at the age of 63. My mother was a housewife who loved to sing and laugh, who kept an immaculately clean house, who managed to put together a meal for 6 with just £1.25 pounds of soup meat. And I know that so well because she would send us down to the butcher shop, get £1.25 pounds of soup meat. Never did we have reason to complain that there was nothing to eat. Always there was homemade bread and butter. But cancer cut short my mother's life when she was just 53 years old. I'm blessed to have 2 sisters and a brother who are extremely good to me and who worry about me because they love me. my brother and sister-in-law who are here tonight in the back. Stand up, Jack and Will, just let everybody see, please. They make sure that they call me every night to see whether I'm still alive. And sometimes I am, but they do call me. Our young lives centered about St. Vitus Church. In that strong Slovenian parish, we were taught values that serve us well as adults. There we formed strong friendships that continue to this present day. Culture involves more than tradition, more than language, more than food, and more than dress. Culture is really a way of life. And I'm here because some gracious people decided that I have done something for the Slovenian community. I want you to know that the Slovenian community has done a great deal for me. So who am I anyway? I'm a fortunate child of God, nurtured by a Slovenian family's love and concern. I was brought up in a caring and believing Slovenian community. And now I am lovingly supported by my church, by my family, by my seminary colleagues with whom I live, and by countless friends, many of whom happen to be Slovenian. You are all very much a part of my twilight years. May all of you know that you are deeply, deeply loved. I thank you so much for this honor this evening, and I ask that God continue to bless all of you for your goodness. God bless you all.